Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just wanted to bring you a quick bit of news, what's happening in the cryptocurrency world today. And before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of future videos, hit that little notification bell just as well. Alright, guys, jumping right into it, you can see it's December 14th, 2017. And today we are looking at a current market cap of $510 billion. Yes, you heard that correct, guys. We are still above the $500 billion mark. Interesting enough, if we pull up the 7-day of the actual coin market cap, let's see here. We can see that within the last at least 24 hours to 48 hours, we've had the rally going above and below the $500 billion mark. It's done it what looks like 3 times. Once here, going down, once here, going down, and then of course we're back into being above $500 billion. Now, I only imagine that we're seeing this right here taper off because, people have been pulling out their money as far as their earnings from the recent rallies up with Bitcoin. A lot of money was pulled out of that, whether it was for taking some earnings from the top and holding that into like a a fiat currency, such as USD or any other fiat currencies. But I do know that Bitcoin did have a huge rally. It did hit $19,000, and then it had a nice pullback, bringing it into like the $14,000 to $15,000 range. And we've just slowly but surely been managing a rally back up into the $16,000 range. And so we're kind of hovering in between 16,000 and 17,000. It's actually plateaued off a little bit here, has some consolidation, and is correcting itself at this point in time. Now, again, I would imagine that people have pulled out some money from the earnings of the rally up that previously happened. But I'm also imagining that a lot of money is going from Bitcoin right back into altcoins to maintain some sort of profits as these rallies are happening here. As you can see, Ethereum has managed to maintain its rally upwards. Really, really strong. We're hitting $720 with them. They could potentially be the next coin to hit $1,000. You can see Ripple has taken a very large increase up within the last 48 to 72 hours, as a matter of fact. Clicking on Ripple here, we can see that a lot of the money that's recently come in here is Korean based, which is interesting because of the stipulations around the Korean markets for cryptocurrencies. Looking at one of the articles recently posted on Bitcoin.com's news, South Korea has made what looks to be some conditions that have to be met in order for anybody there to invest into cryptocurrencies without having to face significant penalties. Now, of course, the penalties have also increased if these particular criteria that they offer, the 6 conditions, if they're not met, your penalties will be enforced. And again, they say they're pretty severe. I mean, punishments of being in prison for 10 years and a fine of 500 million won. I mean, that's pretty significant for the kind of penalties that are offered in South Korea. So I know that if they can meet those qualifications, you should be able to see quite a bit more flow of Korean monies coming in here. And like I said, that looks like what's helped kind of flood the market for Ripple there. Now, going back to the charts here, we'll make this quick. We can see that Litecoin has had a pretty nice rally up. It has kind of tapered off a little bit here and has seen some correction there. And I can imagine maybe a lot of that has to do with Charlie Lee, who is the CEO of Litecoin, coming out stating, that even with a really nice rally for Litecoin going up, such as this, there's always going to be some sort of pullback and possibly a really nice and healthy correction that would happen to this. So it wouldn't be surprising that a lot of people took that as a means to maybe sell off their earnings they got in Litecoin and again put it either back into Bitcoin or maybe even into other altcoins. But nonetheless, pretty big rallies up for other coins such as Dash. I mean, Dash is really getting close to the $1,000 mark. Between Ethereum and Dash, we could be seeing one of these coins hitting the $1,000 mark very, very, very soon. Now, guys, this is kind of leading me here into a couple issues I want to talk about, more specifically with Bitcoin here, because in the last 72 hours, we've seen a lot of issues with Bitcoin, with Litecoin and Ethereum transactions being processed and halted, and a lot of that has to do with scaling issues. As a matter of fact, one of the articles I was going over here, just looking through Wired, this is a big scaling problem that we've seen gradually start taking place with Bitcoin. Transactions not being able to be processed through taking days to weeks for certain Bitcoin transactions to be processed. And of course, the big thing is the fees. I mean, we're having a significant amount of fees that are really hindering people from wanting to do any type of exchanges or pulling money out from Bitcoin because of that. The fees are just astronomical. So, between that and again the scaling, we are going to start seeing some issues here in regards to the amount of traffic that Bitcoin can pull in there, and unless that can be resolved because of the amount of transactions that can be done per block, we're going to probably continue to see scaling issues. Now, this has also pushed a lot of people in the direction of going to things like Bitcoin Cash, which they're trying to minimize the scaling issues, and you can see that anytime there's any issues with that, altcoins will either prevail, or companies like Bitcoin Cash, they take over that lead and draw in a lot of the attention from the people who are originally Bitcoiners. So again, scalability is going to be an issue, and I'll tell you, I did a video a while back on a game and kind of a new, it's not really a cryptocurrency, it's kind of a game that focuses using Ethereum, but it's called CryptoKitties. If you haven't heard about it, it just reached a $12 million mark, where it's earned that much money since its time of being out, which was only at the end of November. So Bitcoin CryptoKitties basically has created this flood of people coming in to play the game, to get on board with the game, to it was enticing enough. It was almost like any of these little app games that you see coming out nowadays, where it just draws in the attention of everybody, and it floods it flooded the market. And when that happened, Ethereum bogged down. The transactions were slowed, and even a while back, Ethereum dropped in its price because of this. Now we can slowly see that the price of Ethereum has gone right back up, but this is a slowly but surely type of process here. Again, the scalability that we're dealing with these issues. So hopefully, guys, we're going to see some changes within that, the scalability problems. Another thing too, guys, we're starting to see other coins like Dash. I mentioned them. They're going up. They're expanding outwards here, so they're making it themselves usable. And we can see in this article, they're usable in about 13,000 different locations in Brazil. So when you start opening yourself up to being accessible into other locations such as Brazil and Korea and South Korea and Japan, you're going to be able to open up a market there that allows for a flood of investors to come on board. And so it's going to drive that price up for companies such as Dash here. As you can see, again, Dash is taking a pretty nice rally up. So a lot of all of these things that we're not paying attention to worldly here are affecting the price of these coins. Another thing we recently dealt with was the Bitcoin Futures coming out. So we have a lot of whales, and big whales coming in with a lot of money that could potentially change the entire environment of Bitcoin itself, the amount of money that gets invested in there. And the big thing that's scary is that these kind of people that have the money can control whether or not Bitcoin's value goes up or down significantly. And that is a scary thing, because you as a Bitcoin investor, and like myself, we don't have any control over that kind of stuff. We just don't have the amount of money that compares to their money that would have an impact on that price point of Bitcoin going up or down. So we can start seeing a lot of these big whales coming in here with big money, really affecting the price of Bitcoin. And once that happens, talk about some scalability issues. We're going to probably see a significant amount of scalability issues, which means that, again, going back to the charts, Bitcoin Cash could be another coin that just simply rallies up and takes on those customers that used to be Bitcoin customers and, change the entire gameplay there. Moving on, another thing here, guys, that's going to change the game potentially. Moving into 2018, Bank of America is now being approved for having a cryptocurrency exchange patent. So basically, if Bank of America is authorized to have their own exchange ability, that's going to drive in a lot in the way of U.S. markets there, and also U.S. citizens trying to get on board with cryptocurrency. Now, the interesting thing, Bank of America has been notoriously known for closing accounts that dealt with cryptocurrencies, or at least putting accounts on hold. So they weren't really pro cryptocurrencies for their customers, but them opening up a cryptocurrency exchange could change the entire playing field for U.S. investors here. So something else to look into, guys. It's all articles I'm looking up as far as what could be game changers for Bitcoin going into 2018. Now, we mentioned just briefly, some stuff about Litecoin here, and I know I mentioned about Charlie Lee making his little announcement on U.S. television about, the price of Bitcoin and the fact that it could drop. This is a big rally, but we need to expect corrections happening. Well, interesting enough, with the Bitcoin futures taking place, it's rumored now that there's a potential CBOE and CME is trying to get Litecoin on as a futures as well. It's just the impact and the rallies that have been happening with Litecoin has drawn a lot of attention with the big guys that are invested with a lot of money. So is this something that we can see happening here as another futures is going to be Litecoin futures? Who knows? But something to keep our eyes on, again, going into 2018. Another thing Charlie Lee is kind of putting out there in regards to, I guess, helping push Litecoin up is their new Litecoin Debit Card. So again, guys, we could potentially be seeing some rallies up with Litecoin going into 2018, pushing this price way above the $300 mark. We could even see it go up to $1,000 like it's been rumored. So can that happen? Will that happen? We don't know yet, but I do know that if these things are implemented and going into place, 2018 could show a lot of signs for huge rallies up for coins such as Litecoin and Ethereum. Now, let's see here. The last thing I want to talk about here is really, again, kind of going into one of the videos I've done about whether or not Bitcoin is in a bubble. A lot of huge investors are saying that Bitcoin is part of a bubble that could potentially crash. And of course, this has been a rumor and a scare that's been going around with a lot of Bitcoin investors and people that I've seen in the community, talking about whether or not Bitcoin could drop drastically, and what that's going to do to the market. Of course, I won't go into a lot of detail. You can watch my video about whether or not I think it's in a bubble and what could potentially happen with it. But interesting enough, with the CNBC article, they posted a comparison of past financial bubbles. And as you can see here, one of the big bubbles that had been talked about, and especially in my video, was the NASDAQ. And their comparison to the NASDAQ was actually really low on this line here. The three that are compared the two that are compared with Bitcoin, making it 3 total, was Mississippi Company that happened in 1718 to 1720, which is this blue line here. And then the Qualcomm, which happened in 1998 to 1999, and they say that's that red line right here. The next one is Bitcoin. Is following in there as far as, again, this is all comparison to bubbles that have happened in the past and where Bitcoin sits as far as their bubbles concerned. So I'll leave a link in the description for all of this so you guys have a good idea of what to look for. But yeah, guys, there's a possibility that we could potentially see this as a bubble going into 2018. But what I would think basically would happen here, guys, is if we go back to the charts, if it's in a bubble, what we're going to see is people that are either controlling it with large money or people pulling out, earnings that they've made off of rallies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ripple and Litecoin, and putting it into things such as fiat currencies. It's just another means for having an additional type of money set aside for yourself. So that could be something we see happening here as far as Bitcoin bubbles are concerned. Lastly, guys, don't go into debt, please. Just don't go into debt buying Bitcoin. That is the one thing that I can stress to you. Again, I've mentioned this in other videos, but with everything you're seeing here, with all the rallies going up, it can definitely add to what they call FOMO, which is fear of missing out. You think you're not going to gain from this, and you start buying into it, and that's what a lot of these investors want you to do. They want you to buy at the highs so that they can potentially make some extra gains and then sell theirs off, and then your price of the coin that you bought in at drops and you lose money. So when you have people that are going out and getting into debt to buy Bitcoin with the hopes that you're going to prevail, that's just going to add so many more issues to your problem of trying to compete with these huge investors. You're not only going to probably get eaten up by these sharks, but you're going to be eaten up and still owe money to somebody because you went into debt. So again, guys, let's just be smart about this. Don't take out mortgages on your homes. Don't do any of that. Wait till the price of Bitcoin drops. Just watch it. Just watch. Everyone thinks that they're going to miss out, but if you watch these coins, they drop, then they go back up, then they drop, then they go back up. You have rallies, you have pullbacks, you have times where the coins excel, and those are the times where you really want to start putting your money into a coin like that. If you have the means to afford to lose it, put that kind of money into the coin when it's going up. You don't want to be doing it when the coin is all the way up, because it has, again, a strong likelihood of falling. So guys, I'm sorry, I know this is a really short and skinny version of what's happening in the news, but a lot of these things are kind of correlating together to help show you what's really happening in the cryptocurrency world. Now, there are a lot of other variables that are impacting that as well, and I apologize for missing those variables, but what I'm going to do here is hopefully gather as much information to keep you guys all up to date on what's happening with the cryptocurrency world, if you missed out, and maybe what's influencing the price points there going up and down. So outside of that, guys, please leave any comments that you have as far as concerns, questions, what you want me to look into doing videos on. I like hearing from you guys. I also like getting information as far as things I might have missed, or even coins that you'd like for me to go over as well. So please, again, leave all that in there in the comment section. Hit that like and subscribe button. Guys, I super appreciate the community here. I want to point out that my subscriber list is just blowing up, and it's going almost parabolic, kind of like the Bitcoin charts there. It's interesting to see how the flood of people coming in are wanting to know and get educated. And so that's what people like myself and other people out there are trying to do, is get you guys educated how to get involved with cryptocurrencies and hopefully do it the safe way. So again, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Share this information, get it out there. Let's get this channel information out there. Let's build this community up as much as we can, and let's keep everybody on board with the same information there. Outside of that, thank you for being a part of this community, guys, and hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.